Florida, December 21st, 2021. As the clock struck 3:17 a.m., a lone Range Rover raced through the Everglades, its headlights piercing the darkness. Inside, 16-year-old Elara, a Miami artist, was on the brink of exposing a conspiracy that stretched across the globe to the golden city of Dubai. But what had driven a young Florida native into the heart of such a perilous intrigue? What secrets did her paintings hold, and why were they worth killing for? With her heart pounding and the last bar on her phone's battery flashing, she made a desperate call to her ex-boyfriend Liam. "Liam, if I don't make it," she gasped, the roar of the engine drowning her words. "The truth has to come out. The files, the paintings. It's bigger than you think." The call cut off abruptly, swallowed by an ominous silence. Before we delve deeper into this web of intrigue, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want us to keep bringing you stories, told and untold stories. Now, let's crack this case wide open. As the night devoured her last known whereabouts, the Florida marshland lay vast and unforgiving around her. Hours later, police would find her Range Rover abandoned by the roadside, the doors wide open, her phone gone, and a cryptic trail of clues hinting at her entanglement with Sheikh Nasser al-Malik, a prominent Dubai tycoon whose dealings were as secretive as they were influential. How had Elora, a budding artist enticed by dreams of fame and recognition, become ensnared in a global plot thick with scandal? What drew Sheikh Nasser to her paintings? And what danger did their connection pose not just to her, but to anyone who dared uncover the truth behind their creation? 6 months earlier, Elora's journey had taken a fateful turn at a bustling art gallery in Miami's Wynwood district. Her vibrant canvases had caught the eye of Sheikh Nasser during his discreet visit to the city. Intrigued by her bold use of color and haunting depictions of landscapes she had never seen, he introduced himself, his presence almost incandescent. "You capture Dubai's essence without ever seeing it." "Quite extraordinary," Sheikh Nasser remarked, studying one of her paintings, a swirl of gold and azure that vibrantly depicted a desert at sunset. His accent was subtly exotic, his demeanor reserved yet piercingly intense. Elara was flattered and visibly nervous, brushing a lock of hair behind her ear as she replied, "It's all from photos and dreams. Sometimes I feel like I've lived other lives in those places I paint." What visions did Elara have that so captivated a man of such power? And how could her dreamscapes draw her into a nightmare of greed and betrayal? Their conversation deepened, with Sheikh Nasser expressing an interest in showcasing her work in Dubai, a proposal that was as thrilling as it was unexpected. As the night wore on, the promise of fame and fortune began to weave its spell around Elora, drawing her into a world far beyond Florida's shores. Little did she know, the allure of Dubai's art scene would soon entangle her in a web of intrigue that involved clandestine deals and dangerous liaisons. With each brushstroke on her canvas, Elora unknowingly painted herself deeper into a corner of opulence and peril. As Liam watched her from across the crowded gallery, a mix of pride and concern etched on his face. He sensed the unfolding drama. He knew all too well the predatory nature of those who moved within the shadowy fringes of wealth and power. His last attempt to warn her came through a text later that night, left unread. "Be careful what worlds you wander into. Not all that glitters is gold." Who will uncover the truth buried in Elara's artworks? Will the shadows cast by her brushstrokes reveal more than just the play of light and dark? And as the mystery unfolds, who will pay the price when the cost of secrets is measured in human lives? As dawn approached on that fateful December morning, the desolate stretch of the Everglades where Elara's Range Rover was found became a crime scene, swarming with detectives and forensic experts. What was initially treated as a possible runaway case quickly escalated into something far more sinister. The missing persons investigation morphed into a high-stakes puzzle as clues about her last hours began to surface. What had begun as a promising young artist's venture into the elite art circles of Dubai, was spiraling into a chilling narrative of intrigue that spanned continents. What secrets had Elora stumbled upon that necessitated such drastic measures? Were her visionary paintings unintentionally woven with threads of covert financial dealings, or perhaps darker truths that someone in Dubai's upper echelons desperately needed to keep buried? Back in June 2021, the vibrant energy of Miami's Wynwood district had been a stark contrast to the shadowy realms Elora was unknowingly about to enter. At the gallery, as Sheikh Nasser al-Malik's interest in her work became evident, so did his intent to draw her into his world. Their initial discussions about art and creativity subtly shifted towards offers of exclusive exhibitions and promises of limitless potential, offers too enthralling for the young Elora to dismiss. "Your talent deserves a global stage," Sheikh Nasser had whispered to her under the dim gallery lights, his words laced with an allure that was difficult to resist. "Imagine your work admired by the connoisseurs of Dubai, the shining jewel of the Middle East. I can make that happen." As the weeks passed, the art deals and international calls became more frequent. Elora, thrilled by her sudden rise, found herself setting between Florida and Dubai, her dreams painted in vibrant strokes of newfound success. But with each visit, the lines between patronage and control blurred. Sheikh Nasser's gestures of support slowly encroached upon her freedom, each gift a golden shackle tightening around her whirl. Conversations she once found inspiring now seemed meticulously orchestrated. Dinners under the guise of discussing art transformed into subtle interrogations about her connections and intentions. The Sheikh's demeanor remained polished, but his eyes, dark and calculating, missed nothing. "Why do you ask so much about my other sponsors?" Elora inquired during one such dinner, her voice tinged with unease. "It's not just admiration they offer you, Elora," Sheikh Nasser replied smoothly, his voice a soothing balm. "Its influence is power. And influence is power. In Dubai we protect our investments diligently. It's customary." Elora nodded, trying to shake off the creeping doubts about the strings attached to her rapid ascent. Was she being paranoid, or was she entwining herself in something far beyond the art she so loved? As autumn rolled in, the tone of her interactions with Sheikh Nasser took on a more ominous tenor. Invitations to exclusive events and private showings came with off-record meetings where the true nature of some of the Sheikh's dealings came to light. Hints of money laundering, using art as a cover for moving vast sums of money discreetly, began to emerge. Elora's art, her passion, was at risk of becoming a facade for criminal activities. Liam's warnings, once dismissed as overprotective fears, now echoed in her mind with chilling clarity. "Remember, Elora, where there is great wealth, there are also great shadows. Watch where you step. Not every hand extended in generosity is clean." By November, the full scope of her predicament became undeniable. Elora discovered a series of transactions linked to her exhibitions that didn't add up. Numbers on paper that could bind her to criminal activities, if ever brought to light. She was in too deep, her art entangled in a web of deceit she had never intended to weave. Torn between the fear of retribution and the drive to expose the corruption, Elora chose to document everything she uncovered. In secret, she began to encode details of the illicit transactions into her artwork. Subtle nuances in texture and color, visible only under ultraviolet light, held damning evidence that could topple an empire. But as December arrived, so did the realization that she was being watched. Her every move, every call, every email was likely under surveillance. The stakes were higher than ever. Her next steps had to be calculated with precision. The line between friend and foe blurred, making trust a luxury she could no longer afford. Elora's disappearance on that cold December night was the culmination of a series of events set into motion by her fateful encounter with Sheikh Nasser. As the search intensified, so did the question. What had Elora uncovered? And more importantly, who stood to lose the most from her discoveries. The investigation would unearth layers of betrayal and corruption, drawing international attention to the dark side of the glittering Dubai art scene. But at the heart of it all was Elora, a young artist whose only crime was seeing too much and painting it all in too vivid colors. As the world watched, waiting for answers, the shadows continued to dance, shifting with the desert winds, hiding secrets that were as vast as the sands themselves. Who would step forward to unlock the truths Elora had hidden in plain sight? And who would ensure that her disappearance was not in vain, that the beauty of her art would not be overshadowed by the darkness of greed and corruption? As the global art community reeled from the revelations of corruption, Elora's disappearance became the catalyst for a deeper investigation into the shadowy dealings of Sheikh Nasser and his associates. Her unfinished paintings, once mere displays of talent, were now scrutinized by forensic analysts who decoded the secrets embedded within the vibrant layers of paint. What they uncovered would eventually rock the foundations of the art market from Miami to Dubai. In the sprawling, luxurious confines of his Dubai palace, Sheikh Nasser al-Malik paced nervously. The walls, adorned with some of the world's most exquisite art, seemed to close in on him. Each piece of artwork now felt like an accusation, a reminder of the empire he had built on shifting sands. His connection to Elora, once a secret nurtured in shadows, was threatening to come to light, exposing not just financial crimes, but a network so intricate that it implicated elites across several continents. Meanwhile, in Florida, Liam teamed up with Sarah Chen, Elora's mentor and gallery owner, to push for answers. Sarah, feeling partly responsible for introducing Elora to Sheikh Nasser, was driven by a mix of guilt and determination. Together, they organized a retrospective exhibition of Elora's work, not only to celebrate her talent, but to raise public awareness about her disappearance. Each painting tells a part of her story, Sarah explained during the exhibition's opening night, her voice thick with emotion. Look beyond the beauty. Elora was communicating through her art. She was telling us something important about the world she inadvertently became a part of. As guests wandered through the gallery, illuminated under lights, specially configured to reveal Yuva secrets, whispers turned into gasps. Hidden within the canvases were not just coded transactions, but also names and dates, intricately woven into the artwork. Each piece was a breadcrumb, leading deeper into a labyrinth of deceit. Back in Dubai, as pressure mounted, Sheikh Nasser called an emergency meeting with his closest advisors. The walls of his opulent office, lined with gold and marble, bore silent witness to the frantic plotting. "We must control the narrative," Sheikh Nasser commanded, his voice a calm veneer over bubbling fury. "Ensure that our connections to the international galleries remain obscured, and find out everything you can about who else might have seen the details in Elora's paintings." One of his advisors, a slim man with sharp features, nodded. "We might consider leveraging our media contacts. Discredit the sources. Suggest that the allegations are nothing more than an elaborate art stunt." Sheikh Nasser paused, considering the suggestion. "Do it. And keep a close watch on anyone attempting to investigate further. We cannot afford more surprises." As the conspiracy unfolded, Detective Maria Gomez of the Miami Police Department took charge of the case. Her approach was meticulous, driven by a sense of justice for the young artist whose life was overshadowed by her disappearance. Working closely with international law enforcement, she pieced together the evidence that pointed increasingly towards a sinister plot. Detective Gomez's breakthrough came when she received encrypted files from an anonymous source. These files contained detailed logs of financial transactions and communications between Sheikh Nasser and various art dealers. The detective knew this was the leverage she needed to bring the full force of the law to bear on those involved. With each passing day, the case drew international attention, capturing headlines and sparking debates about the intersection of art, money, and morality. Art critics, collectors, and the general public were forced to reconsider the origins and implications of the art that adorned their walls. As the investigation continued, Elora's impact resonated beyond her artwork. Forums and social media filled with discussions about her, with people from around the world demanding justice. Her story, once confined to the galleries of Miami, was now a global call to action against the corruption tainting the art world. Meanwhile, as Sheikh watched his empire begin to crumble, he understood the true power of the artist he had underestimated. Elora's paintings, her legacy, were not just remnants of her brief but brilliant career. They were the keys to unlocking the darkest secrets of an industry veiled in opulence and elegance. How will the art market evolve to honor both the beauty of creativity and the imperative of integrity? What lessons will we carry forward from the saga that unfolded from the colors of a brave young artist's palette? As the echoes of the courtroom gavel faded, the art world faced an era of unprecedented scrutiny and reform. Galleries, auction houses, and private collectors alike were forced to re-evaluate their practices. The reverberations of Elora's case initiated a global dialogue about the ethics of art commerce, spotlighting the need for transparency and accountability that had long been overshadowed by profit and prestige. Institutions that once prided themselves on exclusivity and discretion found themselves under the magnifying glass of public opinion and regulatory bodies. International art fairs, renowned for their bustling sales and high-profile dealings, implemented new screening processes for exhibitors. Art sales now required detailed documentation for authenticity and origin, putting an end to the easy anonymity under which illicit deals had flourished. Meanwhile, universities and art schools incorporated discussions about Elora's impact into their curricula, using her story as a case study in both art history and ethics classes. Aspiring artists were taught the importance of understanding the business side of art, equipped not only with the skills to create, but also to protect their work from exploitation. Art critics and historians penned extensive analyses and commentaries, which filled the pages of prestigious journals and magazines. They debated not just the implications of Elora's story for art commerce, but also its impact on artistic freedom. Could artists truly express themselves freely if their work was constantly scrutinized for hidden meanings or legal implications? In response to the growing demand for change, a new breed of art advisors emerged, specializing in ethical investment in art. They guided clients through the maze of legal and ethical considerations, helping them to invest in artworks that were not only financially viable, but also ethically sourced. These advisors played a crucial role in restoring trust in an industry rattled by scandal. Technology companies also saw an opportunity to innovate, developing sophisticated software to track the provenance and history of artworks using blockchain technology. This not only helped in verifying authenticity, but also ensured a transparent record of ownership that could deter fraudulent activities. Art restoration experts and forensic analysts found their services in higher demand, tasked with examining artworks for signs of tampering or hidden details. Their workshops and labs became as crucial as the studios where art was created, forming an integral part of the art market's new ecosystem. As these transformations unfolded, the public continued to follow the developments closely. Documentaries and feature films about Elora's life and legacy began production, aiming to bring her story to a wider audience. These narratives delved into her artistic genius and the dark forces that led to her untimely disappearance, but they also highlighted her role in catalyzing a global movement towards integrity in the art world. Philanthropic foundations, inspired by Elora's passion and story, established grants and scholarships for young artists who committed to ethical practices. Annual awards for transparency and ethics in art were introduced, celebrating those who upheld the highest standards in their dealings. And yet, amidst all these positive changes, the essential soul-searching questions remained potent and provocative. How do we balance the commercial aspects of art with its intrinsic values? How do we ensure that the art market supports artists without compromising on ethics and integrity? The global art community continued to grapple with these questions, each discussion and debate echoing Eleanor's legacy. Her paintings, once a testament to her talent, now symbolized a beacon of change, challenging everyone who admired them to consider not just the beauty on the surface, but the deeper values they upheld. As the art world moved forward, it became clear that Eleanor's influence would resonate far beyond the galleries and auction houses, inspiring generations to come. As the years passed, the impact of Eleanor's story grew, weaving itself deeply into the fabric of the art world. Museums around the globe dedicated retrospectives to her work, not only as exhibitions of her artistic talent, but as educational platforms to discuss the broader implications of ethics in art. These exhibitions became pilgrimage sites for those who sought to understand the intersection of art and accountability, drawing in thousands who wished to connect with Eleanor's spirit and legacy. Artists' collectives formed worldwide, inspired by Eleanor's courage. They advocated for artists' rights and fought against the exploitation prevalent in the shadows of the art market. These collectives created a network of support, sharing resources and information to ensure that artists, especially those in vulnerable positions, could navigate the complexities of the art world without falling prey to manipulation. Simultaneously, the backlash against the rigid oversight that followed the scandal began to take shape. Some argued that the stringent regulations stifled creativity and imposed undue burdens on artists and galleries already struggling in a competitive market. Debates and panels at major art conferences tackled these complex issues, with stakeholders from all sides voicing their concerns and seeking a balance between necessary oversight and artistic freedom. The legal landscape continued to evolve as well. New laws were drafted and existing ones amended to close the loopholes that had allowed illicit activities to flourish unchecked. These laws didn't just aim to punish the guilty, but also to protect the integrity of art as a medium for expression and cultural heritage. Governments established specialized units to deal with art-related crimes, recognizing the unique nature of art as both a cultural artifact and an asset susceptible to misuse. In popular culture, Eleanor's story resonated with a wider audience, transforming her from a victim to a symbol of resistance against corruption. Novels, songs, and plays were created in her honor, each interpreting her life and legacy in different ways, helping to keep her memory alive and relevant. Educational programs in schools began to include discussions about her impact, teaching young students about the value of integrity and the courage to stand up for what is right. Amidst all this, the annual Eleanor Art Ethics Conference was established, becoming a prestigious event in the art calendar. Here, experts from around the world gathered to discuss ethical practices in art creation, curation, and sales. Each conference, while highlighting the strides made in cleaning up the art market, also served as a reminder of the work still required to maintain these standards. As the anniversary of Eleanor's disappearance approached each year, the art community came together to honor her memory. Vigils were held, not just in remembrance, but as reaffirmations of commitment to the principles she had died for. These events were somber, yet powerful, attended by artists, collectors, and curators whose lives had been touched or transformed by her story. In the quiet moments of these vigils, a poignant question lingered in the hearts of many. Had Eleanor been born in a different time, under different circumstances, how might her talent have flourished? What masterpieces could have been created if her energies had been spent on art rather than on fighting the corruption that eventually took her life? These reflections, while filled with sorrow, also fueled a collective determination to ensure that the art world Eleanor had left behind would be safer, fairer, and more transparent for the generations to come. Her legacy, etched in the annals of art history, continued to inspire a global dialogue about the true value of art, beyond the price it fetches at auctions or the prestige it lends to galleries. Thus, as the art community looked forward, they did so with a cautious optimism, bolstered by the lessons learned from one of their own. The changes spurred by Elora's life and work had begun to take root, promising a future where art could thrive in an environment defined not just by beauty and creativity, but by ethics and integrity. How will this evolving narrative shape the future of art and its role in society? The answer, ever unfolding, lay in the continued efforts of those who remembered Elora and were moved by her story to strive for a better world. As the narrative of Elora's influence continued to unfold, the art world witnessed an emergent phenomenon: the growth of ethical consumerism within the arts. A new generation of collectors, influenced by Elora's story, began to prioritize transparency and ethical sourcing in their acquisitions. This shift not only changed the dynamics at art auctions and galleries, but also influenced how art was presented and marketed. The demand for clean art untainted by dubious origins or unethical practices, led to the rise of certifications similar to those found in fair trade products. This trend extended beyond the purchase of art. Consumers started to demand that galleries and museums adopt sustainable and ethical practices in all aspects of their operations, from the energy used to light exhibitions to the materials chosen for installation. This shift prompted institutions to rethink their roles, not just as cultural curators, but as ethical entities accountable to the public and the planet. Meanwhile, the international legal framework continued to evolve. The establishment of the Global Art Transparency Agency, GATE, marked a significant development. GATE, backed by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, worked to standardize international regulations governing the art market. It also provided a platform for whistleblowers to report unethical practices without fear of reprisal, ensuring that Elora's legacy of truth-telling lived on. In academia, Elora's impact spurred a renaissance in art scholarship. Universities around the world introduced interdisciplinary courses that combined art history with legal studies, ethics, and forensic science. These programs aimed to equip future art professionals with a holistic understanding of the art world's complexities. The most popular course, Art and Accountability, became a prerequisite for art history majors at several top universities, reflecting a robust commitment to changing the landscape of art education. The public's fascination with Elora's story also influenced the entertainment industry. A critically acclaimed biopic titled The Colors of Truth was released, chronicling her life from her early days as a passionate painter to her untimely demise. The film highlighted her impact on the art world and served as a poignant reminder of the personal costs of her fight for integrity. It received numerous awards and sparked widespread discussions about the need for ongoing vigilance against corruption in all its forms. As the years passed, annual memorials for Elora became moments of global reflection. What started as candlelight vigils and art exhibitions morphed into significant events where new initiatives were launched. These included scholarships for young artists from disadvantaged backgrounds and grants for projects that fused art with social justice. The Elora Foundation, established in her memory, became a pivotal force in these efforts. Each year, the foundation hosted the Elora Festival in Miami, transforming the city into a vibrant hub of art, education, and advocacy. The festival's highlight was the unveiling of the Elora Prize, awarded to artists whose work exemplified ethical practices and social impact. This prize quickly became one of the most coveted awards in the art world, celebrated as much for its financial benefits as for the prestigious recognition it offered. On the international stage, Elora's story was taught as a cautionary tale and a beacon of hope. It was a reminder that while the art world is capable of immense beauty and profound expression, it is not immune to the darker forces of human nature. But more importantly, Elora's legacy demonstrated that one individual's courage could indeed alter the course of an entire industry. In the quiet corners of studios and galleries, among the bustling crowds at art fairs, and in the solemn spaces of museums, a question lingered, a question that echoed Eleanor's deepest convictions. How can we continue to foster an environment where art not only reflects the world, but also reshapes it for the better? How can the global community ensure that the transformative power of art is used to uphold the highest ethical standards and contribute positively to society? Will the measures put in place inspire a permanent shift towards transparency and integrity, or will they be challenged by the ever-present allure of secrecy and profit? How will future artists, collectors, and curators navigate the complex interplay between creativity and commerce, ensuring that Eleanor's courageous spirit continues to guide their endeavors? If you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Next time, we'll uncover another case where betrayal, secrets, and unimaginable decisions changed lives forever.